Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 182. Hope you're having a great weekend so far. We have 4 great interviews to share with you this hour, beginning with a chat about high-tech toilets and bidets. Yep, you heard that correctly. In that one room we spent a lot of time in. We'll also talk with the author of a book tied to COVID-19 about not just surviving, but thriving during the pandemic. McAfee will join us to warn us about some new scams during the era of COVID. Just a couple things you need to keep on your radar and how to fight back. And we're going to touch base with StockX about its popular online platform for buying and selling sneakers, streetwear, electronics, and more. All of this on this week's new Tech It Out, powered by Asus for those in search of incredible. I'll tell you more about them shortly, but I wanted to first chat about Jeff Bezos stepping down as CEO at Amazon. Big news this week that by the end of the year, he's going to remain as executive chairman. So he's not stepping away from Amazon, but stepping down as his role of CEO. And while there may be a few reasons why he wants to get out of the spotlight, I'll touch on those in a moment. I mean, just take a look at his accomplishments. In 27 years, he built up Amazon from a humble online bookseller in 1994 to be the biggest online store in the country. His net worth is $182 billion. You know, when you give your ex $36 billion in Amazon stock, you're doing okay. And the company has a 1.7 trillion market cap. Sharing that only with the likes of Microsoft and Apple. So huge accomplishments. A few others, by the way. He created the Kindle line of products, the Fire, the streaming stick, and the tablet, and the e-reader, Echo devices powered by Alexa, smart speakers and smart screens. He bought the Ring video doorbell family. Amazon Prime as a service now has 100 million subscribers. He bought Whole Foods in 2017, as well as building up Amazon Go pop-up stores. Amazon Web Services. This is a huge online platform, a cloud platform for powering businesses behind the scenes, but it's a $50 billion a year business, unheard of for such a young company, only like 20 years old. And by the way, Andy Jassy, who is taking over Jeff Bezos as CEO, has headed up AWS, or Amazon Web Services. Bezos bought Washington Post. He had a ton of philanthropic work. He created Blue Origin, a space tourism company. I mean, he's done so much over the last couple of years. Prime Air, a drone delivery, got FAA approval last summer. The list goes on and on. He's only 57. He's very young, so let him enjoy his money. Why not step down while you're on top? But over the years, there have been a number of problems. You're going to live in a fishbowl when you're worth that kind of money and you run a company like Amazon. Washington Post ownership angered the last administration, and it probably cost them a $10 billion Pentagon contract for Amazon Cloud. Bezos was often a target for tax evasion because of where Amazon is headquartered out of the country and how little they pay in taxes. There's union organizers protesting outside of his home over employee working conditions. Amazon Marketplace partners complain about anti-competitive practices. I mean, Bezos even testified last July in front of the U.S. House Antitrust Subcommittee about this. So maybe it was time for him to step down, and he's like, you know what? I have enough money. I've built up this business to what it is. Either way, we'll keep our eye on Amazon. It didn't really move the stock much, but yeah, that was big Amazon news last week. All right, without further ado, let's get to our first interview. In case you missed some of the news coming out of the recent Consumer Electronics Show, bathroom tech is exploding in popularity. From smart toilets and bidets to touchless faucets and smart mirrors to high-tech electric toothbrushes and even Alexa-powered shower heads. It's all happening in that small room you likely spend a surprising amount of time in. Joining us to talk about smart bidets is James Ambergy. He's the Director of Business Unit Development at BioBidet, a company just north of Chicago. Welcome to the show, James.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate you having me on today.
Great. Now, before we talk about BioBidet's product lineup, James, please talk to us at a high level about bathroom tech.
Believe it or not, like you said, we spend a surprisingly amount of time in the bathroom throughout the course of our lives. And so it's an area that traditionally has always been close to homeowners' hearts, right? Renovating kitchen and bath. And these days, with technology, it's no exception.
Mm-hmm. And with the pandemic, probably we're spending a lot more time at home as well. And you may be taking some of the money that you might have set aside for a vacation and instead investing in your bathroom or kitchen or what have you.
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, being home more, we're also noticing, some of the things that we've wanted to change over the years in our home. We're looking at them on a daily basis. And so from what I understand, home renovation is at an all-time high as well.
All right. So let's talk about BioBidet. Tell us a bit about the company and also what makes a bidet smart.
Yeah, so BioBidet, we've been around since 2008. And I tell people, in terms of the bidet industry in North America, that's ancient history. And so a BioBidet is quite different than what you think of when you hear the term bidet. Our products are technology driven. They are designed to fit and work with your existing toilet seat and lid in a lot of cases. It's not that separate porcelain fixture that you're so used to when you hear the term bidet. These are innovative modern products. It's an electronic e-bidet or electronic bidet seat that delivers temperature-controlled water. These have a lot of really great features that people don't think about when they hear the term bidet. A soft-closing seat, in-bowl nightlight, a heated seat, which is really comfortable in Chicago, especially during the winter. You can't go wrong with a heated seat.
And there's also like a high-tech way to disinfect the seat as well, especially with what's going on in the world.
So we have incorporated UVC technology to sterilize the nozzle, which delivers water to you, the user. It's at the cutting edge of the industry in terms of its effectiveness and its safeness to use.
Right. UVC, of course, is ultraviolet light, and then this can zap allegedly 99.9% of viruses and bacteria from surfaces. So that's great. And I'd like to know what some of your models are. I know that recently, as you know, James, I wrote about the Discovery DLS bidet seat from BioBidet for a USA Today article in which I looked at bathroom tech as a whole. Is that one of your top models, or maybe you can walk us through what's available?
Yeah, of course. So the Discovery series is our latest and greatest in terms of product offers. Mark, you were able to, give some really great information on our seat, the DLS, but we also have the DLX, which is a integrated smart toilet that's part of that series. What really makes this series stand out is that UV lighting technology, its automation and how it works, the touchless features. So we're really incorporating a next level of a bathroom experience with this series.
Okay, so that's the DLX, and then there's the DLS, and that's just the seat itself?
Yeah, so the Discovery DLS will work with your existing porcelain toilet.
Okay.
Where the DLX is a complete toilet replacement. It's a smart toilet.
Oh, thank you for the clarification. I got it. So you have an option then, based on what you already have in your bathroom, whether you need just the high-tech seat from BioBidet or if you need the whole kit and caboodle kind of thing, all the hardware.
Exactly. It's that, wide product offer, I think, that really helps define BioBidet in the industry, as well as, things like our customer support. Post-purchase, people may have questions and they're looking for a friendly voice to either walk them through or through, live chat on our website. We've been a family company, owned and operated. And so, we really bring that approach to our customers. They're really like an extension of our family here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what some of the key differentiators are between BioBidet and some other companies that may have these kinds of products. I figured the technology was one pillar. You're talking about customer service as well. We're, by the way, chatting with James Ambergy. He's the Director of Business Unit Development at BioBidet. Is it also your selection? I mean, how many types of products would you say you have available?
Yeah, today we have over 50 bidet products available, and those range, from $50 up to a few $1,000s, depending on what you're looking for. And so that definitely is a differentiator for our brand.
Offhand, how much is the Discovery DLS and the DLX?
Yeah, so the smart toilet seat, the Discovery DLS, retails for $899, and the Discovery DLX, the smart toilet, retails for $24.99.
Okay. And I understand you have other products for the bathroom as well, James, like a smart toilet, faucets as well. Can you tell us a bit about them?
Yeah, so we have a kitchen faucet line. It's under the Flow brand, and it has been a pioneer in the industry in terms of incorporating touchless technology into faucets. It's been a great success for us. And so especially in today's world where touching less is more. We've seen a lot of increase there in terms of sales, product awareness, and just overall interest in kitchen faucets.
Yeah, and we're used to seeing this now in public places, of course, in public bathrooms and whatnot, in airports and in restaurants. So having it in your home, I think, is just part of a natural evolution. And similarly, bidets, correct me if I'm wrong, James, just to circle back before we wrap up. Bidets have been traditionally more popular in Europe and in Asia than in North America. But do you feel like the times are changing? Yeah,
slowly but surely they are. Certainly there was a lasting conversation that started in 2020 in terms of bathroom hygiene and toilet paper.
I was going to go there, like with all the stories about hoarding toilet paper. This resolves it because you don't need as much, right?
So we've done a lot of studies, and actually the number one barrier to people not trying this product is they just simply haven't heard of it. And so, until you don't have toilet paper or access to toilet paper for whatever the circumstances, you start to think about that process a little bit closer and ask yourself, well, why am I using toilet paper? What kind of alternatives are there? And the retention rate for bidets is extremely high. It's actually at about 87% as of our last survey. So once people try it, they love it.
And with a heated seat, I could see why. James, great chatting with you. What's the best website? Is it simply biobidet.com?
Yeah, visit us at biobidet.com.
All right, James Ambergy, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it, and continued success.
My pleasure. Thanks again, Mark.
We'll be right back with more Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. This show is powered by ASUS. For those in search of incredible, ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, including its line of award-winning laptops, desktops, monitors, and much more. Check out asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. My youngest son, Ethan, who's 16, doesn't get impressed when I tell him who I'm about to interview on this show. Teenagers, right? But you should have seen his face when I told him I was going to chat about StockX with its CEO, no less. Scott Cutler is joining us. StockX, of course, is the place to buy and sell the hottest sneakers, including Adidas Yeezys and retro Jordans, as well as streetwear, collectibles, and other items. Scott, it's good to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
So great. And I'm so excited there's a connection to your son, your family, and teens around the world.
Yes, StockX is certainly hot, especially among that demographic. Let's bring everyone up to speed. What is StockX all about?
So StockX, our vision is to be the world's leading consumer marketplace for high-demand consumer goods. Consumers of current culture today, the Gen Z audience, 75% of our customers are under the age of 35. These customers have an expectation that what they see on the feet of the athlete on or off the court, worn with influencer style from a social media influencer, or dropped with hype by an artist, they want access to these high demand yet scarce consumer goods. And this customer finds access to those products on StockX as a leading platform.
Is that one of the key differentiators between StockX and eBay? It's that you focus only on high-end or high-demand consumer goods, as you put it, but it's also in how you authenticate purchases between buyers and sellers, right?
Our commerce platform is different than other third-party marketplaces, and it's different based on a couple simple principles. One, we start with a product, not a listing that's generated by a seller. Our customers come to that product page, and on that product page, you can transparently see the prices which these products trade for in the market, similar to the way we go to exchanges and see the prices of how stocks are traded.
Okay.
And then those consumers can interact with each other based on a bid and an ask model. And the difference that we have relative to other third-party marketplaces is that we stand in the middle between the seller and buyer and authenticate every product prior to it getting into the hands of the buyer. And so it's a combination of experiences that we've created that's a very different experience than most other third-party marketplaces. And it's more similar to buying a product brand new for the first time from a brand. And that's the experience. But we deliver that through a global network of sellers, hundreds of thousands of sellers around the world.
Also, unlike eBay, all of StockX's inventory is new, from what I understand, and not, let's call it, previously enjoyed. And I know eBay is a mix.
Yes, everything on the platform is brand new that we sell. So what we're looking for when we authenticate a product, it has to be in its original box, in original packaging. It can never be worn. It has to be the right size, the right style, the right color. And then, of course, it has to be authentic. And so we're guaranteeing that brand new experience, but for a very expansive catalog of items, over 100,000 items that would be in our catalog. And those are items that might have been recently released in the last few weeks, but also product that might have been released years ago. And a majority of our transactions are actually items that are outside of its 8-week release window, but you're getting access to it authentically as if you were buying it for the first time. But yet everything that trades on the platform is largely being resold. And then increasingly, we're working with brands that are releasing product directly on the marketplace for the very first time. And that's certainly part of our future.
Thanks for the clarification. And again, resold, but not repurposed.
Correct.
We're chatting with Scott Cutler. He's the CEO of StockX. Approximately what percentage does StockX take out of that transaction? I'm just trying to get a better sense of the business model.
Yeah, so the business model, when an item is sold on the platform, typically the buyer would pay a tax wherever they're located. That would be true for most e-commerce platforms. We would charge a shipping fee, and then the buyers pay a processing fee that is around 3% for that transaction. And that would be typically the buyer, what they would be paying for. On the seller side, a seller pays us around a 9.5% fee plus a 3% payment processing fee that they would pay to us, similar to other marketplace fees that a seller would pay.
As we wrap up, how has StockX done since the start of the pandemic?
So the pandemic has really affected us in somewhat unexpected ways, in the sense that we saw a surge in demand following the extreme months of the pandemic. And so it really accelerated those trends into a few short months. And so as a result, we've been expanding our authentication centers, investing in our product tech, to really deliver on what we're seeing is an international, global expansion of the business.
So the best website to learn more, I'm assuming, is StockX.com, but it's also an app.
We have consumers on either side that come to us on desktop, on mobile web, or of course on the app. Most transactions happen on the app, but it's a really dynamic experience if you happen to be searching on desktop as well.
Okay, StockX.com, or go to the App Store for iPhone and iPad, or the Google Play Store for Android devices. And just thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on the success of StockX to date. I know you're just getting going.
Thank you so much. Real pleasure.
We'll be back momentarily with more Tech It Out.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. The second edition of the ebook, The COVID-19 Solutions Guide, is now available, co-authored by my next guest, Dr. Ron Baecker. He's a professor of computer science at the University of Toronto, among wearing many other hats. And this book is meant to be a comprehensive guide to pandemic life and how we can survive medically, emotionally, and financially. Thank you for your time, Dr. Baecker, or may I call you Ron?
You can certainly call me Ron, Mark, and thank you so much for inviting me.
My pleasure. Now, before we talk about your ebook, The COVID-19 Solutions Guide, please tell us a bit about your work.
As you mentioned, I've been a professor starting out at MIT and over 55 years, mainly at the University of Toronto, doing research, teaching, and entrepreneurship about digital technologies, particularly for computer animation, collaborative work, education, and health. I have focused my career on making technologies easier for humans to learn and use, and in teaching software innovation and how to start companies. My current concern is that tech's use be supportive of human values. After publishing a textbook on computers and society with Oxford in 2019, I am now writing a trilogy for the general public.
Was that your work called Computers and Society, Modern Perspectives?
That is the textbook, yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So at a high level, what's the ebook all about?
The COVID-19 Solutions Guide, Health, Wealth, Technology, and the Human Spirit is your single trusted source for surviving and even thriving in the pandemic. Our 4 knowledgeable authors wrote the book to contribute solutions to helping people in these difficult times. Despite vaccinations, our 100 tips are still critical now as we endure the winter's raging infections. The book provides reliable medical information, sage advice for managing your money, both personally and as a business, links to useful apps and internet resources, and stories of hope of the indomitable human spirit.
So no doubt technology has played a significant role during the pandemic, probably across all of those themes that you mentioned, like finances and education and business and even mental health. Can you give us a bit more of an in-depth look at how tech has played a role during the COVID-19 crisis?
First of all, in medical support technologies such as contact tracing apps. Secondly, with links to apps and websites for uses such as accessing medical care, mental health support, and government financial aid. Third, tools to support virtual learning. But I want to focus on what I believe is the most important, which is video conferencing technologies such as Zoom, which are used to allow employees to work for their homes, to provide access to cultural resources such as concerts and movies, and most importantly in this time of isolation and loneliness, to keep families close despite physical separation, including linking isolated seniors to their children and grandchildren.
A couple weeks ago, I did talk about the best and worst tech of 2020, and without question, Zoom and all other kinds of video chatting platforms was top of the list for the best of the year for all the reasons you just mentioned, perhaps most importantly for staying in touch with those who matter, despite many of us being hunkered down at home. And I love your own personal touch as well, Ron. We are chatting with Dr. Ron Baecker. He's a professor of computer science at the University of Toronto and co-author of a new book, a second edition of an e-book called The COVID-19 Solutions Guide. And we're getting a little peek behind the curtain right now with our chat with him. And speaking of that, Ron, what are some tips and perhaps insights for better coping with life in the era of COVID? As you mentioned, not just surviving, but thriving.
So we provide a lot of tips. We provide useful information about the aerosol theory of transmission, which is important to understand why and how you might become infected. We stress the 14-day incubation period and the roles of what we call fences and hammers for governments trying to control the virus, keeping people out with fences and at home in with hammers is even more critical now during this fierce second wave. Both techniques are needed, and governments need to be firm, very firm in applying them. We provide tips via links to medical and psychological support and sources of financial support for families and businesses. For example, in our blog published on Blue Monday, we provided up-to-date, concise summaries of U.S. and Canadian support websites. We talk about how best to do online learning and give tips for teachers and also, even more importantly, for parents. And finally, other tips are implicit in our examples of the resourcefulness and spirit of families sheltered at home and of entrepreneurs dealing with adversity. For example, the story of Dan Clancy, the lead singer of the Canadian rock band Lighthouse, who performed over the summer by parking his van in driveways and entertaining from there. To continue to keep people current with such stories, we have a blog and a free monthly newsletter.
All right. And that's all at thecovidguide.com. When it comes to our reliance on technology, Ron, do you think we will return back to the way it was pre-COVID?
Things will return to normal in most ways, but in some areas, things will actually be improved. For example, telework, working at home, will be much more expected and more prevalent than pre-COVID. Of course, not all the time, but work hours in terms of office space will be more flexible. Secondly, virtual learning will be somewhat more used than pre-COVID, but it will be used much more knowledgeably based on the experience we've had. Individuals will be more internet literate and resourceful than pre-COVID. Cities, offices, and senior care homes will be designed differently in the future. And finally, as you reported from the Consumer Electronics Show recently, the next pandemic will allow the use of smart masks, including some very clever ideas of design for the hearing impaired.
And I know the book costs about $10 as well. thecovidguide.com. Is that the best website to order the book?
We love it when you order directly from our website and you then get a PDF or EPUB, which is readable on most devices. But you can also get it directly from Amazon for the Kindle, from Barnes & Noble for the Nook, and from Kobo for its e-reader.
Ron, it's been great chatting with you. Congratulations on the launch of the second edition of the COVID-19 Solutions Guide.
Thank you so much.
When we return on Tech It Out, we'll chat with McAfee about the latest cyber threats out there. This show, Tech It Out, is powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. Visit asus.com/US/radio to check out their laptops, like the one I'm talking into right now. We'll be right back. Stick with us.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. With an increase in online activities because of the pandemic, I was curious to know the results of this year's McAfee Consumer Security Mindset Report. It's an annual peek into our online habits and perceptions about cybersecurity. Will we continue to embrace a digital lifestyle, even post-pandemic, for things like online shopping and banking, and even socializing? Joining us to chat is Terry Hicks, Executive Vice President for McAfee's consumer business. Welcome to the show, Terry.
Thank you, Mark. Great to be here.
So at a high level, please tell us about McAfee's annual Consumer Security Mindset Report, and then we can dive into your findings from this year.
Well, at a high level, what we try to do is really understand the customers that we serve. And so by doing, research and doing this report, it helped us to understand, what some of the shifts are in behavior of our consumers, what's really top of mind for them. How are they thinking about the threats? And then, that really helps us to better tune how we connect with those consumers and the problems that we solve. We also want to know, if these behaviors are kind of like a one-off or if these are kind of long-term things that they see will be changing in their lives.
Got it. So for many of us, as I hinted at off the top, obviously it was a big shift to a digital first lifestyle. Billions of us now forced to work or school from home. But the more we do online, the more cybersecurity risks there are. Is that fair?
Yeah, both of those are right. I mean, one of the things that we really think about is digital wellness. As we've all shifted to working from home, it means that we've got to change the way that we think about protecting ourselves. But really, these shifts are part of a long-term trend that we've seen, and really the pandemic accelerated those behaviors.
Yeah.
And because everybody's watching these behaviors, that creates an opportunity for hackers and cyber criminals to really take advantage of that shift.
Right. Fair enough. So with that in mind, Terry, please walk us through some of the key highlights from the 2021 Consumer Security Mindset Report.
Well, some of the things that we've observed are there's an increase in the number of online threats per minute. This is one of the things that we monitor all the time. There's about a 12% increase as compared to the same quarter, Q2 2020 compared to Q2 2019.
Right.
And about 71% of U.S. respondents admitted to being more concerned about their financial data being stolen. About 68% of U.S. respondents were concerned that their personal information is more exposed as a result of these shifts.
Were you surprised to hear about this, or does it make sense? I mean, especially with finances being so top of mind during a pandemic.
If you look at the behavior that's shifted, many more consumers are engaging because they have no other option. 61% of people are engaging in online banking. 56% of people have shifted different kinds of social engagements to online. 52% are engaged in personal shopping. So if you look at the activities and behaviors, you'd say, well, the concerns aren't really that surprising. And now it's sort of like, well, what do we do about that? How can we, just like in your personal health, what actions can consumers take to protect their digital wellness as well?
Okay. What are some of the simple steps to protecting ourselves online? And are they any different than they have been in years past?
Well, some of the simple steps, I mean, they really, to your point, they're not that different. But, if you think about it in your own personal life at the beginning of the year, we're at the beginning of a new year. Often people put in place, new goals or resolutions that they have. And frankly, there can be a gap between people's intentions and what they know they should do and what they actually do. So the actions aren't that different, but, it's really about having that determination to take those actions. For example, many people know that even though it's some friction to signing on to your favorite accounts, using multi-factor authentication is a good practice to take. Or really being mindful if you're out and about or conducting some sensitive transactions, maybe it's a good idea to put another layer of protection in place, like using a virtual private network or VPN, so that there's much less likelihood that prying eyes could see what those transactions are. Or, and this is true in our security suite, we have some tools that allow you to understand or block sites that are potentially malicious or are more likely to have malware on them. Putting those capabilities in place, or looking at our identity services that help you understand what information of yours is actually out there on the web, and has any of your information been part of a breach recently, and then taking the actions to remediate any risks there.
Yeah, this is all great advice, Terry. I just want to break down some of those phrases. A two-factor or multi-factor authentication is when you don't only need your password to sign into, say, your online banking account, for example, but you also need a code often sent to your mobile device to confirm it's really you, or some other way to authenticate you. It usually couples something which is your password, with something you have, like a smartphone. You also mentioned virtual private networks, or VPNs, a great tool for browsing online anonymously. There's a secondary reason why people like VPNs. We don't need to get into it today, and that's to access content that's restricted to another country. Like you want to watch BBC. Some Americans will install a VPN, make it look like they're from London, England, and they can watch that kind of content. But we'll save that for another conversation. When we return on Tech It Out, we will continue chatting with McAfee about cyber threats, how to protect yourself, not just in the digital age, but in the COVID age as well. You are listening to the Radio America Network. This is Tech It Out, and I'm your host, Mark Saltzman. Stick with us. We'll be right back with more. Don't touch that dial.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
We're chatting with Terry Hicks. He is the Executive Vice President for McAfee's consumer business, all about our online habits and perceptions about cybersecurity in the COVID era. You also mentioned malware, which is, of course, short for malicious software. And with that in mind, Terry, I understand McAfee can warn you against any potential threats, websites that have been known to perhaps infect a device, as well as identity theft protection, which is another service you provide in some of your offerings. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. What we try to do, and this is the real opportunity for us, is because, as you had to explain some of the details of the different security tools, one of the big challenges we have as a provider of security solutions to consumers is to really make them easy to use. Because most consumers get confused by which of these solutions should I actually have? And what we try to do is simplify that, number one, by putting identity protection and privacy protection and security tools into a single suite. So you don't have to decide, should I have this or should I have that? We provide the tools that in a single solution that allow you to protect yourself holistically. And then we work really hard to make them easy to use and to make them show up at the right moment of time based on what you're doing. So if you're going to a banking site, then we try to let you know that, hey, maybe this is a great time for you to turn on the VPN to add that extra layer of protection, or proactively notify you. So you don't have to be worrying about it day to day, but proactively notify you if a particular breach happened on a popular consumer website, and then was your information involved in that breach? So we really try to bridge that gap between, our knowledge, we should be working on behalf of the consumer, and what actions they need to take so they can go through their lives, enjoying all the benefits of being online and the conveniences that brings, and the joy that can come from, sort of being able to take care of business in a very simple and seamless way, but not having to worry about the potential downsides to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great point. So it's probably no surprise then, Terry, that 2 out of 3 Americans say that they are worried about cyber risks, but 1 in 3 don't feel confident in their ability to prevent an attack. And that's where your software comes in, your services. And I know you've been quoted in the past as saying it's better to prevent a problem than be in a position to having to fix it. I think that's also a great point, ounce of prevention kind of thing. And that's, again, where software comes in. It may not be the end all be all. You still need to practice some common sense, such as not clicking on any suspicious emails or texts, any links, attachments, anything like that. But software can be a tool in your arsenal to fight back against the bad guys out there.
Think about it like in your own, physical wellness. Everybody, I think, has good intentions and has some knowledge about, what they should be doing in order to protect their physical health. But every now and again, we need a little bit of help. We need an advisor. And so we may decide to work with a personal trainer, or maybe to, get the latest fitness app for some advice on that front. And that's kind of the role that we try to play, is really demystify what is your digital wellness profile, and what actions can you take to ensure that you maintain a good, healthy digital profile as well.
Okay, fantastic. With that in mind, Terry, is there a website you'd recommend to learn more about this report for a deeper dive, as well as McAfee's cybersecurity offerings?
Well, you can visit McAfee.com. One of the things that we try to do is to have a lot of free sources of information that make it easy for consumers to keep track of and understand the different issues. Obviously, we have tools there. We also have a lot of information that can help keep consumers informed. Various blogs that really break down the different considerations and speak to the consumers in terms that they can understand, and then provide very practical steps that they can take in order to protect their digital wellness.
All right, awesome. So McAfee, it's spelled McAfee.com. Terry, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. It was great to be here.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this week's Tech It Out show, whether you're listening to it in podcast form, on demand, online, streaming or downloading, or on your local radio station. Either way, thrilled to have you along. If you want to say hi on social media, I'm at Mark Saltzman on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. Mark is spelled M-A-R-C. My last name is S-A-L-T-Z-M-A-N. This show is brought to you by ASUS, as you know, my favorite laptop company. asus.com/US/radio has more. And speaking of computers, don't forget to properly back up your important files on a regular basis. You can pick up inexpensive hard drives from Western Digital and solid state drives as well. That's what I use to protect my files just in case. Thank you again for tuning in, everyone. Have a great rest of your week, a healthy week ahead, and I look forward to catching up with you next weekend on a brand new episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.